Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into something we've all seen and probably all felt. Why is it that when big news drops at work, some people get totally fired up, while others, well, they look like they want to run for the hills? Oh, you know this feeling. The email hits your inbox. The subject line just says, urgent, all hands meeting. And immediately, your stomach does a little flip. You know a change is coming, you just have no idea what it is. And then it happens, the big announcement, a restructure, a new software, a whole new strategy. And right away, you can see the room split. Your colleague to the left is already buzzing, talking about opportunities. The person on your right looks genuinely worried. And then there's the quiet one whose face is a total blank, but you just know their brain is already demanding to see the numbers. What is going on here? Okay, let's get into it. Because it turns out these reactions aren't random at all. They're actually pretty predictable. And we're going to use a really simple but powerful framework that's kind of like a code breaker for all this workplace behavior. And that framework is called DISC. All you really need to know is that it helps us understand why people do what they do by looking at two key things. First, are you naturally faster paced or more deliberate and slower paced? And second, do you tend to prioritize getting tasks done or connecting with people? That's it. Where you land on these two simple axes can tell us a whole lot about how you'll probably react to change. So let's see how this breaks down into four main styles. And I promise you, you are going to see yourself and probably your entire team in these descriptions almost instantly. First up, let's talk about the fast-paced, task-focused person. We call this the D style, or the driver. Their entire world revolves around one thing: results. And check this out. Notice the tension here. Drivers are motivated by being in control, getting results, and moving fast. So it makes perfect sense that their biggest fears are the literal opposite of that: losing control, getting stuck in slow bureaucratic processes, or, and this is a big one, being seen as weak. So when a driver pushes back against change, it almost always sounds like impatience. They're not necessarily fighting the new idea. They're fighting the feeling that the process is inefficient and taking away their ability to just get it done. Okay, next up, we have our other fast-paced style, but this one is all about people. This is the I style, the influencer. They're the ones who bring the energy and enthusiasm to the team. For the influencer, life is about positive experiences. They're fueled by excitement, by collaborating with people, and having the freedom to be creative. So what are they afraid of? Being trapped in a boring routine, being isolated from the team, or losing their social standing? And this just nails it, right? If you roll out a change with a bunch of dry facts and spreadsheets, you've already lost them. Their resistance sounds like a plea for engagement. They need to see the change as this exciting, collaborative adventure we can all go on together. All right, let's shift gears now and slow down the pace. Meet the people-focused S style, the supporter. You can think of them as the steady, reliable heart of any team. Supporters are driven by a deep need for safety, for stability, and for making sure everyone on the team feels okay. And because of that, they're naturally cautious. Their absolute worst fears are sudden, unexpected disruptions, open conflict, and feeling like there's no clear plan to support people for a transition. So when a supporter seems to be resisting, it's rarely about stopping the change. It's about ensuring it's done in a way that's thoughtful and safe. It's really just a request for reassurance, a clear step-by-step plan, and enough time for everyone to adjust. And finally, our slower-paced, task-focused style, the C style, or the analyst. These are the guardians of quality, logic, and accuracy on your team. Analysts are driven by a really powerful need to be correct. They live and breathe logic, data, and precision. So you can probably guess what their biggest fears are: being given vague, fuzzy information, being pressured into a rushed decision, or worst of all, making a mistake. This is the absolute classic analyst response to a new idea. But see, their resistance isn't them saying no, it's a defense mechanism against making an error. To get them on board, you don't need a big, inspiring speech. You need to show them the proof. You need to give them the evidence, the plan, and the data. So just take a second. Which one of those just made you go, oh yeah, that's me? Or maybe, that's my boss to a T? Are you the driver pushing for results? The influencer looking for that spark? The supporter keeping the team safe? Or the analyst asking for the facts? Just knowing this is a huge first step. So now that we can see these completely different styles, here's the million-dollar question. How on earth do you announce one change to all of them at the same time without half the room immediately tuning you out or putting up their defenses? Well, the secret is you stop trying to send one message. Instead, you deliver what's called a quad message. You think of your announcement as having 4 lanes. In that one single meeting, you speak to all 4 styles. For the D style, you hit them with the bottom line results and give them ownership. For the I style, you frame it as a super exciting creative opportunity. For the S style, you lead with the support plan and how you'll take care of the team. And for the C style, you give them the data and the logical process. Everybody gets what they need to hear to feel good about moving forward. But look, this isn't just some nice, feel-good communication trick. When you get this right, it has a massive, measurable impact in the real world. I mean, the impact is huge. The data shows that when organizations actually tailor their communication like this, they see a dramatic drop in active resistance. We're talking a 25 to 35% reduction. That means things get adopted faster, there's way less friction, and the change itself has a much, much higher chance of actually working. So if you only take one single thing away from this explainer today, please let it be this. People very rarely resist the change itself. What they resist is a bad experience of that change, an experience that feels too fast or too slow or too illogical or too boring for their natural style. So the next time that urgent all-hands email lands in your inbox and you start to hear all those different reactions ripple through the office, you'll know exactly what's going on. The real question is, who will you be listening for, and what will you finally understand that you didn't before?